and welcome to another episode of This Week in Crypto Philanthropy. My name is Zoe Nawar. I will be filling in for your usual handsome hosts, Nick and Pietra, this week. You've seen me a couple times before. I manage Web3 partnerships here at the Giving Block, which means I get to work with everybody from Web3 companies to mid-sized projects to individual creators. And I'm very honored today to be joined by somebody who I've actually worked with for years now. I kind of feel like their position in the space has gone side by side with my time at the Giving Block. So I'm really excited to dig into that today. I'll be joined by Ashley Duncan, aka AshleyDCan. She's a content creator and NFT innovator. She's been a pioneer in using digital art for social impact. Through NFT collections, she's raised funds for nonprofits like the American Cancer Society. She had one project alone that generated around $30,000 for charity. She's also among the first to experiment with peer-to-peer crypto fundraising in general. We started out with a lot of direct donations from investors, but what really surprised us in the early days of the Giving Block was that peer-to-peer strategy, those communities that were coming together with leaders like Ashley Duncan. Her impact's been widely recognized. In 2023, we featured her in our Faces of Crypto Philanthropy, where we celebrated 50 plus fundraisers and change makers who shape generosity in the current digital age. Last year, we named her for our Crypto Impact 100. And most recently, we're planning on awarding her the Giving Block's Most Impactful Influencer Award for her leadership in using creativity and technology to drive positive change through crypto and digital art. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to the show. I was hoping you could start out by sharing your journey from your perspective and your own words into content creation and how you developed your platform.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be talking to you guys again. I feel like I've known y'all forever at this point. So I'll kind of rewind on my crypto journey. So technically, it started in 2018. It didn't fully start, but I bought my very first crypto in 2018, which was Doge. Have a lot of love for Doge. Probably a lot of people's first cryptocurrency. And my friend texted me and he's like, hey, you should buy this. It's one of your favorite memes and I bet it'll do really well. You should just buy a little bit of it and, sit on it. So I bought it, totally forgot I bought it. Just, just slipped my mind. And years later, in 2021, I get the same text or similar text from the same friend. We've obviously been talking for years, but this text was January 2021. And he said, oh my God, check your Doge. And I check it and it's gone crazy. It had just hit a penny at that time. And I bought it like super low, much lower. So I was feeling pretty smart. So I said, you know what, like, I'm going to try to trade. I'm going to try to get into crypto. Like, I must be an absolute genius. So I got into crypto. I started tweeting. I started, having a lot of fun on the timeline. Nothing really too serious. Just mainly had Twitter for talking to people in crypto and just kind of like figuring out what to buy next. So after a few months, I started getting more into the community. I doxed myself officially and posted a picture of myself just like, hey, I would love to meet more crypto women in the space. It went viral and a lot of people started like being really nice and supportive on the timeline. And I started like getting more into the community. But what happened after that was kind of interesting because I got a lot of very inappropriate DMs. I'm sure as a woman in Web3, anybody can imagine what those may be. And one of the top things that people would say to me is, "Show me your titties." Very, very often, maybe, multiple times a day, which was insane. So it was during the big NFT phase, and I decided, like, you know what? I not only am I gonna make jokes about boobs, but I'm gonna post an NFT about it. So my initial NFT was the initial, like, the number one crypto titty in the collection of the ones that I have, and it ended up selling, goodness, I think for like 0.25 ETH or something. I can't remember exactly what it sold for. And people asked me for more. People kept DMing me, asking me to make more. I started doing more in crypto, and I decided to just go ahead and make a collection, as you know, crypto titties. And then later on, I had a community member suggest, like, hey, your project is about, boobs. Why not, pick a charity, like a breast cancer charity? And I thought that was such a great idea. Like, I felt like crypto has given me so many opportunities just at such an early time. And a close friend of mine, a family friend, died of breast cancer maybe a year before that happened, and it was like a big, project, or a big thing for me to want to give back, for people like my friends. So I decided to give through the giving block, because that was the easiest way to do it. Uh, Especially at the time, it felt like nobody was really into charitable giving, um, back in those times. And I made a pretty decent donation to the American Cancer Society. And it was cool because they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we would love to learn more about crypto." So not only did I start talking to the American Cancer Society, you guys reached out to me. So that was like a really cool intro into NFTs and crypto. Um, and after that, I started doing more into crypto, and I was able to eventually quit my job later that year and pursue it full time. Um, so I went from, starting with that as my base, and then eventually I started making content, and doing quite well at it, making videos, making, memes, all of that kind of thing. And I started treating this as my full time career. Um, so it went from something just kind of crazy. And I felt like my biggest push really was like getting into the charitable side. I feel like that really made me believe that crypto is not just full of degenerates, and not just like full of crazy people. It's filled with people that actually want to do good. And then I just felt like my home was in crypto, and that really is kind of a general story of mine of how I got started in crypto.
It's funny you mentioned that you bought Doge thanks to your friend and forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I always joke that crypto is one of the only spaces where it's benefited me to be a forgetful person. Um,
Yes.
but no, it really is an amazing story how much crypto has changed lives all around us, including both of ours. I love that you were able to quit your job and dive in full time. I'm very happy to be a part of the giving block where I can get that world, get my
Mm-hmm.
fix for the world of crypto, and especially the world of crypto philanthropy. um, it's definitely a space that I think you were very early on with, identifying how well communities can come together and make a difference. You kind of saw the downsides of the Wild West that the internet can be,
Yeah.
and really turned that into something beautiful with your NFT project. I'm curious. What exactly do you feel makes the world of crypto have this potential to do really amazing things like come together and have charitable projects like this? Is there something unique to crypto, you think, or is this something that's been around, with the internet in general? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think what makes crypto unique versus any other industry is that people are literally made from like zero to hero. You're literally starting with nothing. I started with maybe $200 to my name, at the time, and I went to what I'm doing now full time. And there's a lot of gratefulness that comes from it. A lot of people in crypto. In fact, I looked up a statistic before that said something to the effect of there's a lot more volume in crypto donations than most other types of donations because there's so many beneficial aspects of it from like I feel like people in crypto are just so grateful to be here and so grateful for the money that they made in this industry that they want to give back not only to their families, not just to their friends, but to people generally. I've seen it with a lot of people that trade very well. Leap is a great example of that. Making I think he did a campaign with you guys as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so just seeing that the people that are successful and have a good heart in this industry, you hear a lot of scams every day, in the media. People talk about it all the time, but what they don't talk about is the absolute massive amount of donations that come in for good charities, and how much technology is built around it as well. So I feel like, not just myself, but other people have been such good advocates of giving back in an industry that has rewarded us sometimes for absolutely doing nothing but sitting on our butt and clicking buttons. So I feel like that's the unique perspective versus other industries that might be a little bit more steered in a monetary direction versus a giving direction.
I love that. I like the zero to hero concept, and I also like the kind of component, which is how many projects and initiatives are started with something charitable in mind. I've always felt that is a big differentiating factor, is as opposed to, say, for example, a company that's been around for a decade and then decides to launch a foundation. We see so many projects that have social impact built into them from the start. A recent really successful campaign, which was not specifically a crypto campaign, but where crypto ended up playing a really major role, especially from both the publicity angle as well as just the raw numbers, was the Team Water campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little bit about your participation in that, and basically just your experience of that campaign in general?
Yeah, that was such a cool campaign. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Beast, have been for years. One of the people that inspired me to make content in the end, and it was cool because he put out a post that said, "Hey, if you want to be a part of the biggest campaign ever, message me and I'll DM you." So I messaged him, not really expecting him to get back in touch, and he DM'd me and asked me to do the campaign, and of course I said yes because like why not? The great thing is that he wasn't paying people for this, so he never offered
Hmm.
any money. He only offered participation, which is essentially what that charity campaign is for. And he just said, make the content you feel comfortable with, obviously appropriate for the campaign. But he gave us some, logos, some brand assets, some general, things to work with. And the cool thing is that not only was it one of the most viral charitable campaigns ever in history, from the Web 2 side and the Web 3 side, but what was really cool is his actual communication with people in the campaign. Like I sent him my video before I ever posted it, and I said, "Hey, you know, would you let me know if you like this? Is this okay?" And he actually responded back and was like, "I actually love it. It's great." And I have heard he did similar things for other creators, and the coolest thing about it is that he made himself available not just for creators, but for the charitable cause. And then you saw a lot of crypto people for the opportunity to be featured on Mr. Beast, giving just sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is crazy. But that is the power of attention, and attention for such a beautiful cause. So I think it was like perfectly executed, and I would love to see campaigns done like that in crypto, because I feel like that's such a unique way to do it. Because charitable giving has so many benefits, not just for the charity itself, but for the people actually donating. You can get benefits, tax wise for that as well. So I mean, there's so many beautiful things about it that I love, and I felt like Team Water really highlighted how excited people get just to participate in something like this. I feel like the attention economy plus charitable giving would create such a massive help for so many charities.
No matter how many years I'm in this space, or how many years I've been at the Giving Block, I think I'm over 4 at this point, which is crazy to think about. I'm kind of continued to be surprised and blown away by everything the community is able to do. I think Team Water really caught me off guard. I mean, when I heard about it, I expected success, and I thought it would do well, but it really exceeded in any expectations I could have. I was
Mm-hmm.
really impressed with how far it went, and how much of a difference people were able to make. Um, I'm curious now that uh, uh, you've had kind of some time seeing all the different variations and the growth that crypto and Web3 philanthropy can take. What are some of the biggest lessons, or the biggest lesson singular, that you've learned from your journey, both as a content creator and also as a crypto philanthropist?
I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is to make sure you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, in both, the charity space and in your career in general, because, it's so cheesy to say like you are who you surround yourself with, but you truly are. If you're surrounding yourself with good people that have good intentions, that are doing things that are beneficial for the industry, that are beneficial to charity, that are just positive minded, I feel like your life can be, towards that trajectory, versus if you're in a chamber of people that are just being negative Nancy's and saying all the worst things, and have negative views about doing positive things in the space. It's not going to be a positive trajectory for you. I think that the more normalized charitable giving can be, the more active it can be in a conversation, and the more people that will want to be surrounded with those people. One of the coolest things about this kind of thing, charity in the space, is that people are so open minded to it.
Mm,
In certain aspects, I think that people can be fearful because of, obviously we talked about the scams earlier, but I think for the most part, I've seen more positive than negative when it comes to this. And I think you just got to align yourself with the right people. That's really the main highlight for me.
completely agree. I think when you have people who are like-minded around you, or who you even look up to, or admire the work they do, it really synergizes, and you're able to kind of get to where you want to be in the space. um, you've been recognized in the Giving Block's Faces of Crypto Philanthropy, our Crypto Impact 100, and most recently our award for Most Impactful Influencer. I'd love to hear, what's next for you, as well as if you have any advice for nonprofits or creators who want to join you in this space of crypto philanthropy, but maybe aren't sure where to start.
I appreciate you guys, recognizing me. It's really cool to be involved with you guys. And one of my biggest pieces of advice to people when it comes to being active in the community, and just in this industry altogether, is it has to come from yourself. You can't be inauthentic. People sense it. People are like literally, um, I have not seen one person that has built something based off being inauthentic. And if they have people around them have little to no respect for them. And then that is the thing, is that you have to not only, think of the longevity of your career. If you get, shady deals, or if you get, into the wrong crowd or things like that, can ruin your career, and it can ruin the thing that you've built so much. So just always be aware of your reputation, be aware of yourself, be true to yourself. And that is the main thing that I think people should know. And honestly, what I've been working on is, I just filed myself as an LLC, so I really am going full force into content. I'm working on um, something I'll call the bucket list campaign. Um, and basically, it's me trying to complete a bucket list of items in a year or less. We'll see if that happens. So that's like a fun personal thing. I've also been really working on content with good companies. So trying to keep myself affiliated with the right people, the right companies, the right things that I want to get across. I kind of transitioned from a meme account to more of an education news sort of account. So I'm trying to kind of like shift my focus into something that I am truly passionate about, and that I feel like I should have started with from the beginning. So that's kind of my current trajectory right now.
Amazing. It's been really wonderful to have you on today. I was really glad that I was able to be the host for this one. Was looking forward to catching up with you and hearing your thoughts about the space. I really can't wait to um, see you evolve, and I hope that the Giving Block will be able to continue to play a role in that going forward. Um,
Me
thank you.
too.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you as well to the audience out there, whether you're listening or watching and listening. We really appreciate you guys, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of This Week in Crypto Philanthropy. Have a good one, guys.